If you look up the dictionary term of sustainable, it is just to stay still, it's to have stasis. For a lot of people that can be about making sure that there's resilience in their business and that they're not creating waste. But regenerative is about creating practices that allow your business to go beyond that. They're about repairing the site if you can, about taking it, just that step further. Eden Project Cornwall is a living theatre of plants and people, and that's set up specifically to demonstrate the power of connecting to nature, connecting to each other and understanding how dependent we are and interconnected we are to nature. Eden Project Dundee is about all the things we can do as a wide community to create opportunities for regeneration so that we're always trying to think about how we can create a better future. And it's part of Eden Project's ambition to take Eden out across the world. The Eden Project site is the old gasworks in Dundee. It's been there for 200 years, I guess, but historically it was a pebbly beach. For all of its life, it's been fossil fuels and the consumption of those fossil fuels, and it's got a real toxic past. So there's a lot of remediation has to be done before we even get started. I think the gasholder itself, which is 62 metres diameter, 13 metres tall, is full of water. So that water has to be drained and it has to be decontaminated. We can't dig down because of the nature of the site and because of the contamination, so there has to be shallow foundations and some really deep thinking about how buildings can raft differently across the site. And also the site itself is part of the floodline. So future-proofing the site, if we're going to think about regenerative futures, we've got to be thinking about how we can safeguard ourselves and our livelihoods from future events. It helps that we can say, here's one we did earlier, and having already regenerated and transformed an old quarry, we understand the difficulties, but we also understand the opportunities of creating something in a space that really would just get forgotten. And we can really give it back to not just nature, actually, we can give it back to the people of the city. So we at Eden Project in Dundee are hoping to take people on a journey around the site. We're going to keep the one thing on there that's iconic, which is the gasholder, but there's going to be 2 other buildings that are going to help tell that story of regeneration. And the visitor centre is going to be the first place that you'll enter. We'll use that to engage people in some of the jeopardy around the planetary emergency that we're in. And at that point, they'll also be greeted with an enchanted forest and a body of water and a landscape that they'll be able to look over. And then we'll take them on a journey to the gasholder, which is the lush bunker. So the underground experience will be a mix of planted and digital immersion that will help tell the story of the planet's deep time, deep past, specifically looking at the Carboniferous period, which is when the planet had conditions such that the plants just grew in abundance, and when they fell and died, there wasn't enough time for them to rot. And that impacting over millennia has given us the coal seam, and actually how we mismanage that resource that the planet has created for us. So that's the underground journey, and then we'll pop up into what we're calling the living forest. And that'll be a forest that we recognise now, and we'll be able to tell stories about how we need to caretake and different ways we can have agency in what we do now to take care of the planet. The gasholder, that's going to not be a conditioned space, but we have to make it comfortable. So there's lots of conversations about heat recovery, where we can take machinery that's producing heat, how do we harness that instead of putting in a heat system? And then the third building, that building again is going to be built in such a way that we can add to it. It's a really important part of Eden Project. The project part of Eden Project is important because we're constantly evolving and changing. So all the buildings will be created in such a way that if we do add to it, it's not a huge upheaval, And that's also, again, thinking about energy consumption, materials that we use, rafting, how will the community use it, where can we plant, how can we bring oxygen and light in? Every aspect of the building is being thought through super carefully to make sure that we're making the most of the site. We wouldn't exist if we didn't work in partnership with people. We talk about such big things. We've got to be able to work with people who can help us make sure we're saying the right thing and that we're always pushing ourselves to the point where we're being regenerative. And it isn't just about staying the same, it isn't just about sustainability. It is about transformation and working with an organisation that really understands that, but understands where there's opportunity for shared knowledge. I often say to people, regeneration really comes into play if you can do something and take a leap into some regenerative practice and make that a sustainable platform to allow you to take the next leap of regenerative practice. And then that way you're always creating that momentum forwards.